What's up, you guys? Welcome back to Stalk by GiGi 101. Today I will be giving you a recap, review, whatever, on the movie which you can currently find on Netflix called Shark Lake. Shark Lake. Would you like to take a guess what you think this movie is about? If you guessed about a shark in a lake, you are correct. The movie starts off with this woman who, is a police officer, and she's with her partner, Lewis, and they bust into this house, and they're, I guess, looking for someone. I don't know, because it was kind of like, what? How do you start a movie like this? And they bust into this house looking for someone, and they find a little girl. She had to be around 2 or 3 years old. And as they find her, all of a sudden they hear vroom, and of course the person that they were looking for got away, and she was kind of like the decoy. He left her in the house by herself. So initially I'm thinking, was this little girl abducted? And that's why he left her. I really wasn't understanding the correlation of the beginning of this movie to the title Shark Lake. And then a car chase then proceeded to happen. And his car, he came through a sharp turn and he went over the railing and into the lake. And there's no way in Jesus' name that his van sank as fast as it did. But it went into the lake, and, he was swimming up from the lake, and you see the shadow of the shark behind him, but the shark doesn't come anywhere near him. And the cop is like, freeze! And she's like, get down on the ground. And he's trying to get out of the water. And as he's trying to get out of the water, she shoots him. And she's like, you're under arrest. And he's like, yeah, whatever. And I'm just like, what? This was the intro of the movie. This was the beginning of the movie. This was how the movie started, and it just kept going from there. It wasn't like it was that scene and then, goes to, okay, 5 hours earlier or 3 days earlier. No, this was how the movie began. And so she brings him in, and they have the little girl, and she goes to her partner, when are they going to come pick up this little girl? Is the mom going to pick her up? And they're like, the mom's dead. Okay, grandma, aunt, uncle, neighbor, somebody. And he's like, child services will be here when they get here. So you need to pipe down. Because you can tell that this cop is an overzealous cop, but okay, amen. And the little girl looks at her and smiles, and then it flash forwards 5 years, and basically what happened was that she apparently adopted this little girl. So she adopted this little girl, and this little girl is a swimmer now, or she swims. I'm not really sure. And the cop is still being this overzealous, kind of in-your-face cop. And the guy that she captured, who ends up being the father of this little girl, not her abductor, he's out of prison. And now, obviously, he wants his daughter back. And not that he wants his daughter back so much, but that he wants to see her. He wants to see how she is, if she's okay, this, that, and the third. And I'm still trying to figure out what this has to do with sharks in a lake. Because I don't understand. I felt like there was a lot of fluff and filler going on. So we finally get to the part of the shark. And the part that was most confusing. So for 5 years there have not been any shark attacks or nothing, right? Right. Not at this lake or whatever. So we see this old man and this old lady with his wife, and they're walking through the forest, and they're going to go to the lake to, I don't know, it looks like he was trying to collect stuff in the sand because he had the equipment. And the sign said, bears activated, which is a very weird way of saying they're active bears. I don't even understand. But basically, the older man, her husband, goes in and he starts fiddling around with the stuff or whatever. And his wife is like, oh shoot, I left the iPad. I need to go and get it so that way I can take pictures of the scene and send it to her friend or whatever. And he's like, whatever, I'll be here. So he's sitting there, and the camera does that view where it's it's viewing from the predator. You know what I mean? Kind of a view where it's now you see what the predator sees, and this is what's mind-blowing. So, okay. I've never seen a lake so crystal clear. I've never seen a lake that had pristine sand and perfectly placed rocks. And the camera's literally in like 2 feet of water. And now I'm like, you've got to be kidding me. Because I don't understand how this supposedly big behind shark is in like 2 feet of water about to, and it is not being seen. You don't see its dorsal fin. Like, what? What is happening? So the screen cuts back to the wife who's walking back because, you know, she's kind of paranoid about the bears, and she hears a scream. It's her husband. She runs towards him. She trips and falls. Of course, like every good female character in a horror movie. She hits her head. And she finally, like, gets up and she goes to him and he's missing an arm. And everybody is just saying that they think that it's a shark. So now the rumor, not a shark, they think that it's a bear that did it. So now the rumor around town is that it's this bear that attacked this man and killed this man. So the female cop is with her daughter and they're at an ice cream shop or whatever. They're getting food or whatever. And they're talking about it. And this random nerdy hot guy is all like, you know, it's less likely to have bear attacks. There's only been 27 bear attacks in like the last year recorded. Or 27? Was it 27 bear attacks or something like that? But like there were more people who were killed by dogs than there were bears. So he was like, even though it's plausible, it's just highly unlikely. And she's like, okay, whatever. And then that was kind of like his forging kind of like a friendship. And so these guys go out and they decide that they're going to hunt down this bear, and they have these tranquilizer guns and they find him and they text it to, they send it in to the police. Now, while all this is going down, the really hot nerdy guy who happens to have a PhD in oceanography, which people often confuse oceanography with marine biology. Oceanography is actually the study of the ocean, the botany almost of the ocean, the plate tectonics of the ocean, not so much the study of the animals. That's what marine biology is. So this guy is diving, and there are the hottie nerdy guy, I think his name was Peter. He's diving, and like there are just shadows going over him that look like a shark, and he quickly looks up and it's like either a boat or a surfer. Again, I'm not understanding the surfer part in a lake, because the lake is not connected to the ocean. It's just a lake. I did not know you could go surfing in a lake, but okay. And then, now mind you, every time a shadow comes over him, he looks up automatically. But like the third time it happened, he didn't look up as quickly. And it was obviously the shark. Like it was the outline of the shark. So he's diving, and again, the water is perfectly clear. Again, what lake is perfectly clear in America? I have never seen. If you know, please let me know down below. And he's swimming, and then he comes to like this rock cave. We won't even get into the camera angles of that. We won't, because I don't even understand. But he like jumps back, and again, these were semi-plays on like the movie Jaws. So I don't know what he found at that point. No one knows what he found, but whatever he found, it scared the bejesus out of him. And next thing you know, you see him with a cooler running towards the cop who was sitting in like some kind of library or whatever. And I guess she was doing research on like bears. And she was also doing research on the guy that got out of prison, because he's now trying to get a hold of her daughter. He wants to have visitation rights. He popped up at her house or whatever. So like she's really kind of just stuck on that. And come to find out that this guy like embezzled a whole bunch of animals, and she's trying to build a case against him. Now, mind you, she's looking through the files of all the animals he embezzled, and at random, there was the shark that she just happened to skim by. We're not gonna question how he embezzled a shark. How? How did that get through security? How did that get through scanning? How? How did he embezzle a shark? How? And how did you not stop and go, okay, I can understand a snake. I can understand a bird. Okay, heck, I can even understand a bear. But a shark? How do you embezzle a shark? And the lake's not connected to an ocean. How? So she went by it really quickly that I guess if you really weren't paying attention to the movie, you wouldn't have caught on to. But I caught the shark and I was like, okay, now I see the connection. This shark is a shark that he embezzled. Okay. So she's in, the library or whatever, and nerdy hot guy Peter comes up to her and he's all like, yo. And she's like, just then she got a text message about it being a bear. And she was like, see, you were wrong. It was a bear. And he's like, no, it wasn't. He opens up the cooler. She looks in, mad calm. She looks in like this. And then next thing you know, you see her like in the car with Peter zooming off to the lake where her partner, who is the sheriff now, Lewis, is giving this speech saying that the bear who attacked the guy and killed him has been apprehended. And she goes in just so extra and she's all like, get out of the water, get out of the water. Ugh! Just like in Jaws when the police officer starts screaming, get out of the water, Chief Brody. And he's all like, what are you talking about? It's under control. There were these people that were doing that thing where like they're attached to like a parachute and the boat's pulling them and they're kind of touching their feet into the water and going back into the air. And it's showing scenes of that and people playing in the water. And she's like, get out of the water. And Sheriff Lewis is all like, I don't even know what you're talking about, what's happening right now. And all of a sudden everybody starts screaming because the shark just appears out of nowhere. It bites the leg off of this girl's body. And the graphics are just horrible. I just don't even understand how the graphics are this bad in this day and age. And the graphics were much better during, Splash and Jaws. It looked more realistic. I just don't understand. And we have way better technology now. Jesus, take the wheel. I don't understand. But, they take the cooler to the guy and we finally get to see what it is. And it was like the hand of the guy that everyone thought that the bear had killed. And the rest of the movie is a cross between them trying to get the shark and she trying to keep that guy away from her daughter, who's really his daughter, but okay. And then the times that you do see this guy out of jail, come to find out that the guy he was embezzling all these animals for him, he comes up to him and he's like, well, I want my shark. And it's like, wait, what? And he's like, you get my shark or you get my money or you die. Nope, negative, because then he sees the picture of his daughter and he's like, nope, she dies. And he's like, you leave her alone. So now that it's all over that there's a shark around, everybody wants to try and find it, just like in Jaws. But the twist is that now there's this guy from the BBC who wants to kind of exploit the situation and wants to capture the shark and kill it on television. And the cameraman and he are down there dealing with the shark, and the shark kills him. And come to find out that there's actually 3 sharks. We see 2 at the time. And marine biologist hottie guy is like, those were pups. And they're like, what? And then this part reminded me of Jaws number 3. Did you ever see that movie where like Beth Grant, that's the actress, she's like, the baby did it. The baby killed it. The baby is in the park. The mother gave birth to the baby in the park. Like, that was legit the scene. That's what happened. So then they realized that the shark that he embezzled was pregnant at the time and had 2 kids. And now they have to kill these 3 sharks. And it was just this whole big crazy thing. Because while she's out trying to like kill the sharks, her daughter finds the file on her father. And she wants to now meet him because she's inquisitive. And I just don't understand how she's 8 years old. And she goes into her mother's office, takes her father's address, gets on her bike, and just knows graphically where to go. And she goes to meet him. And it was a lot happening. It was a lot happening. But overall, in the end, Peter dies. The sexy, hot marine biologist nerd dies. And the sharks are all killed. And all's well that ends well in this movie. But I was just like, what? But I'm obsessed with the ocean and sharks, so I watch these movies anyway. And even though Sharknado is a horrible movie, I have to say Sharknado 1, 2, and 3. How horrible they are, they were still better than these last 2 shark movies that I watched. Does that make any sense? Did you guys see this movie? Would you guys be interested in seeing this movie? Please, let's have a conversation about it down below in the comment section. If you would like to see more of these random recap, review, whatevers, or just see my opinion or my reactions to anything that I experience, if you want to see me react to something, definitely leave it in the comments down below. And go ahead, click that subscribe button, and you can be part of the GiGi Meister Merpod. We welcome all kinds of merfolk here. Mermen, merwomen, which are mermaids. But okay. Did you ever think about why we're called mermaids and mermen aren't called merbutlers? Random. But yeah, so as always, don't forget to rate, comment, subscribe, and share because sharing is caring. I'll be seeing you in my next random reviews. Set reviews are Sundays for Once Upon a Time and Tuesday for Pretty Little Liars. Since it's on hiatus, we're doing Fuller House off of Netflix. And I'll be seeing you soon. Loves and likes ya. Bye.